We're live, Shane.
All right. Sorry, my little thing didn't pop up here. All right, everybody. Welcome back to what is now the third episode of Success Stories with Shane. I am your host, Shane Simmons. A lot of you probably know me or have seen me throughout the Dental Nachos community here. And this is for those of you just joining us for the first time or maybe watching this for the first time. Basically, what we're trying to do is once a month, come on here and just share, what is working in the dentistry world, whether it be marketing, which is kind of, my focus and my area of expertise, or, bringing people on later down the road, talking a little bit about team building, leadership, case acceptance, whatever it is. We're just wanting to highlight success stories of others and hopefully motivate and give everybody some tips on how they can make their dentisting life a little less stressful and a little bit more enjoyable. So, and today in episode 3, we're going to be talking about something I've touched on here and there, and I've shared some points in the Nachos community previously.
Shane, your sorry to interrupt. Your PowerPoint isn't showing.
Oh, let's see what's going on.
It was there, and then the screen went black.
Okay, so let's try doing this. I'm gonna stop sharing and try to reshare this for you guys. Share screen. Okay, how about this?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, let me full screen it, just confirm. Can you still see it?
Yep, we're good.
Excellent. Okay, good thing we caught it at the beginning there. So thank you, Ariel. So yeah, we're just going to be trying to highlight, success stories that are out there that we see, and anything that you all see, please leave us something in the comments or message me, and we'd love to highlight that. Again, just for those of you who are new, who am I? Been a Dental Nachos resource for a few years now, and I'm the owner of Crimson Media Dental Marketing, and basically my whole job is to help dentists grow their practices. And this was a picture from what seems like eons ago, before the pandemic and everything, when we had a Dental Nachos meet up there in Philly, and looking forward to do more of those here in the future. And hopefully I'll see some of you all in person. But I'm going to get right down to it here. We're going to talk about today specific case study on how a dentist doubled their production in their office using this one campaign. And the really cool thing about this is I'm going to show you the exact ad that was ran online for this campaign. I'm going to show you the exact landing page that we sent that traffic to for this campaign. And I'm going to highlight what made this campaign work so well and how you can take something away from this and start implementing that in your practice if you so choose. So this is going to be a really exciting episode for me because doubling production from year over year is a huge feat for anybody, any business. And so hopefully all of you listening and watching this right now will be able to have similar success with it. So first, let's start with the base numbers here. I'm going to look at the most recent data we had. So we're going to look at January and February from 2020. So right before, kind of COVID-19 pandemic shut everybody down. We're going to look at those 2 months, and we're going to compare it to January and February of this year, now since that we have launched this campaign. So to give you an idea of this particular office, in January of 2020, they had produced $77,000. Okay, that was their total production. In February of 2020, they had produced $59,000. So you can see they were kind of starting to go down there in February. Typically, I know a lot of you probably see that happen in your own office when January, people's insurance and things kind of restart. January can be busy. But we launched this campaign that I'm about to go through in detail with all of you and show you how it all worked. But here's the numbers from that. In January of 2021, since the campaign had been launched, the business produced $166,000. In February, they produced $184,000. And a large chunk, the majority of that is coming from the production from this particular campaign that we've been running, and then here recently in conjunction with a second campaign. But today we're going to talk about the details of this specific campaign that really got the ball rolling and honestly helped this office gain momentum during the pandemic and coming out of it and what's really set them up for success. So the campaign was all around emergency dentistry. So if you are doing emergency dentistry in your practice and that is something that you want to expand upon, this is going to be a great video for you to watch. What we used was the Google Ads platform exclusively. So we didn't do anything on social media, anything like that. It was all exclusively on Google Ads, what I'm going to show you. We launched this campaign in April of 2020. So it's been just over a year now, when this particular office was allowed to still see emergency patients, but wasn't allowed to see just regular patients when everybody was shut down. We all know how that went. And again, this more than doubled production in the office, and has been just a wildly successful campaign. And at this point has really provided them as kind of the leader in the community for emergency dental services. And just kind of the result of this and having a good marketing plan in place and a system in place to generate these patients consistently for what is a general dental office. It isn't just emergency exclusive office. It's a general dental office that happens to do emergency dentistry and have some after hours available. They were able to hire an associate and actually expand the practice. So really exciting stuff. And again, we're going to actually show the exact ad that was ran, as well as kind of that landing page. So first, let's take a look at the ad. This is it. We ran several of these ads. We were always testing, but this was by far the best performing ad. And I'm going to break down why this ad was so effective at getting the job done, essentially. But you can see kind of the ad here: emergency dental services, open 24/7, which they're available 24/7. So we're able to put that. Obviously, if you're not, that would be something you probably wouldn't want to put on there. $49 emergency dental exam. I've hid the URL just to protect kind of their privacy. And then you can kind of see the breakdown of some of the things that we have below this. So first off, I want to talk about this ad and what has made it successful and what you need to do when launching a Google ad yourself and some of the things you need to look for. The first thing is, if it's an emergency campaign, you need to have emergency dentistry, emergency dental services in the ad somewhere. What you don't want to do is just have a general ad that says, we're a dentist, dental office located near you, blah, blah, blah. For an emergency campaign. You don't want to do that. You want to actually have that keyword emergency in the ad itself. Pretty self-explanatory. But the second part of that, which is super important, is you need to have a clear and concise offer. So $49 emergency dental exam. That's a clear offer that the patient knows, okay, I'm going to pay this amount to go and actually see the doctor. And then obviously whatever treatment comes from that, certainly separately. But you at least have a clear offer where you can get someone to engage and click on the ad. There's so many different studies out there that show that when you have a clear offer in your ad, you are going to convert at a much higher rate or have a higher click-through rate of people coming through to your ad. If you don't have a price, people aren't going to click on it at nearly the pace that they will when you have an offer. So have a clear offer. That's why if you do mailers or you see billboards or anything like that, they always have an offer on those. And so that's really important. Obviously, having a section under it that talks about some of the most common issues that they would see when an emergency patient would come in. So, someone broke a tooth, they had swelling, loose fillings, etc. And then again, you need to kind of have that differentiator somewhere in your ad. If you have 24/7, services available, or you have someone on call at all times, put that in the ad, because after hours, when these typically perform the best, if you have that capability, you need to highlight that so people do know you're open, you're available to talk to somebody. The next thing I want to talk about is, where do we send people after they click on the ad? And we talked about this just briefly on one of the other success stories with Shane, but you need to have a landing page that matches what your ad is calling out, and it needs to match up to that and be consistent with that in order to convert that click into a patient, because at the end of the day, you're paying for those clicks when you're running a Google ad. So the keys to a successful landing page, as I have bulleted out here, these are just kind of four of the main ones. You need to have a quick loading speeds on the page. So it's got to load quickly, and it's got to be really optimized for mobile. because most of your traffic in most cases are going to come from your cell phone, your mobile devices. So it's got to load quick because people are impatient, especially if they're in pain. You've got to have your site clear and concise on a mobile device so everything loads properly there. Aesthetically, it's got to be readable and visually appealing once someone has clicked on the ad. So using photos from inside the office, or if you have, photos that you've taken of the exterior, if you have a nice building, something that shows the actual office, not stock photography. You don't want to use stock photography if you don't have to, just again, because the more customized that photography and that content is on the page, the more likely from our information that we've retrieved, we've seen that you're going to be able to convert that patient at a higher rate. And then finally, maybe pretty self-explanatory, but you have to have a clear call to action. You have to have a specific action right at the top of the page when someone clicks on it. They shouldn't have to scroll down to click, book an appointment or call now. Having a big bold call now right there on the page. And I'm going to show you an example of that right here. So this kind of shows the location and where this ad is running. So Las Vegas. It has the emergency dentist, the keywords right there in the landing page, so it matches up with the ad. Again, we're not just sending them to the homepage on their website where it doesn't say emergency dentist on it, because if you did that, they'd be scrolling around. They wouldn't be sure if you're open. There's a number of different things the patient would go through and probably not book an appointment. This landing page, clear, concise, keywords match on the landing page with what it matches on the ad. You have that clear offer front and center right here. And then you have that call to action, call today, and then the phone number right there. And as you can see during this particular page, it was when the outbreak was, a lot of practices weren't seeing patients at that time. So we even had a little bit of individual note there about seeing emergencies during the outbreak. So this is really the main thing you need when someone clicks on the ad. This is what they need to see. Everything that the ad had said, it needs to be right there at the top of the fold on the landing page, and that's going to significantly increase your conversions. So again, let's just look side by side. Look at the ad, look at the landing page. We see that the emergency dental services, Las Vegas emergency dentist, that checks out. See that we're open 24/7, available 24/7. That checks out. So again, consistency across the ad and across the landing page. These are things you need to keep in mind so we don't confuse the patient. And then ultimately the offer in the ad itself, the offer front and center on the landing page as well there. So everything is matching up. Everything is consistent. We're not throwing this to a random page on the side or the home page on the side, or the ad doesn't not have a clear offer, and then they come to the landing page and there is an offer. There's a lot of different disconnects that can happen there. And that's why it's important building the ad, building the landing page, make sure the two are in sync together. So at the end of the day, after running dozens and dozens of Google Ads campaigns, really what we found, the winning formula to be is the ad and the landing page are consistent and complement one another, which is what we just went over. You want to eliminate irrelevant keywords. So if you're doing an emergency specific campaign, you don't want to be showing up for terms that aren't related to emergency dentistry, right? If you're doing an emergency specific campaign, it needs to be around emergency terms. You need to have a schedule for the ad. The ad should run only when you're open or available to take phone calls or be able to be on call to come into the office. You don't want to get calls at midnight if you're not going to have anybody answering the phone at midnight, or you're not going to be able to come into the office at that time or have someone come into the office. So have a schedule that it goes together with what your actual in-office schedule would be, or when you would be available to see patients. This is so important. I should have bolded this, but you must have someone answering the phones at all times when the ad is on. So again, if you're running the ad from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever the case is, there needs to be somebody who is at the phone and available to answer it anytime that phone rings, because specifically with a paid ad campaign, if somebody clicks on the ad, they call and they get the voicemail, they're more than likely not going to leave a message. They're going to go back and click on whoever was next in line on Google. So make sure you have someone there who can answer the phone at all times that they're running, and just targeting the correct keywords. Again, we talked about eliminating irrelevant keywords, but you need to make sure that you're targeting the correct ones, like emergency dentist, urgent dentist, dental emergency, 24/7 dentist, broken tooth. Like those are type of terms that you can specifically target and get in front of that search traffic where you're going to be relevant. And without getting too into the weeds here, the reason that's important is because Google ultimately is going to reward campaigns that they see as most relevant to the audience. So what they look at is what's called your click-through rate. It's basically the percentage of times that your ad is clicked on from the total amount of times that it's seen. And so the higher your click-through rate is, the higher or more times people click on your ad, the more relevant Google sees that it is to the audience. If people aren't clicking on your ad, then Google says, well, this ad must not be relevant, and they're going to kind of essentially bury your ad under others. So you need to have that high click-through rate, which is going to just kind of compound over time, and it's going to make your ads stronger than your competitors. So making sure your keywords that you're bidding on matches up with the type of ads that you're running is critical and just very important. The most common mistakes I see, so if you ran a campaign or you're running a campaign, these may be some of the things to check out. Again, we talked about sending ad traffic to the homepage of your website. You don't want to do that whether you're doing emergency dentistry, you're doing ortho, dental implants, whatever it is. You need to have a specific landing page that you're sending that traffic to. The second thing is kind of what we just talked about, showing up for irrelevant keywords. If you're running a general, emergency dentist campaign, for example, and you have that word dentist that you're targeting, but you didn't eliminate other combinations of that, you could be showing up for how do I become a dentist, and your emergency ad could pop up. And then if that's happening a lot, that's going to drive your click-through rate down, and that's going to hurt your campaign. So make sure that you're showing up for irrelevant keywords. Another mistake I see is people not testing different ads and offers. If something's not working after you've ran it for a few months, try something different. Try, changing up the ads. We always suggest running 2 or 3 ads at the same time with different variations, same offer typically at the same time, but different wording and things to see what performs best. And that's how you ultimately find out what's going to work best in your area. And then finally, this is probably the most frustrating for a marketer to see is when you don't give your campaigns enough time to mature. So the first month of a Google Ads campaign, sure, your ads will start showing up. They'll start appearing in the top of the search results, but Google's an algorithm, and you got to give it time in order for the search volume to come up, your ads to pop up, get enough data on those ads, see what words are converting, what keywords aren't converting, what areas are converting better than others. You have to give this time and test. Again, marketing's not an exact science, but it is something that over time, if you continue to test different offers, different landing pages, different services, whatever the case is, eventually you keep testing things out, you're more likely going to find something that's going to work and be successful in your practice. So again, just kind of wrapping this whole thing up, this is a campaign that's worked not only for this practice that I've shown, but for multiple practices. So hopefully you can take some of the information that we've provided here in this short 15, 20-minute time period and be able to implement that into your practice and take some of these things and be able to maybe learn from some of the mistakes that we've made and others have made in the past. So again, if anybody has any questions or anything about the ads campaigns that they're currently running, they have questions about, or anything that I touched on here, you can always contact me through going through our website, crimsonmediagroup.com. You can submit a form there to schedule a time to chat with me, and would be happy to answer any questions that you all have. But in the meantime, any comments you leave down below, I'll try to get to those as quickly as I can. And also, again, just reach out via our website. And that's going to do it for this third episode of Success Stories with Shane. Be sure to reach out if there's anything specific that you want to hear or learn about in the marketing world, or anything else dental related. And other than that, we'll be looking forward to coming back with another episode here in June. So thanks everybody for your time.